hear what they can't define, they simply can't seem to comprehend you. They gather in hushed, secretive conversations, their voices barely audible as they dissect your life. What kind of individual is this, they wonder, who continuously manages to endure and rise from circumstances that should have irrevocably broken them? They are trying to identify the hidden power, the immense force that seems to be operating on your behalf, providing this unstoppable momentum. They're past simple curiosity now. A deep-seated fear has taken root within them. This apprehension stems from the unexplainable nature of your existence and the way you reemerge from defeat, stronger and brighter than before, time and time again. They are unnerved by the profound silence that surrounds you, recognizing it is infinitely more impactful and deafening than all their superficial noise and distractions combined. They have been forced to witness your journey, watching you walk directly through literal fire without ever suffering a single burn. They've observed intently as every perceived opportunity and door slammed decisively shut in your face, only to see vast, magnificent gates swing open for you in ways that completely defy their conventional, logical understanding. Their initial attempts were to completely suppress you, to bury your potential beneath layers of gossip, betrayal, and opposition, but they made one crucial error. They failed to realize you weren't a stone, you were in fact a seed. And now a terrifying realization is slowly dawning upon them, one they desperately want to ignore. You have never been navigating this path alone. Every single instance when life attempted to shatter your spirit, an invisible, powerful force intervened, holding your very core intact. Whenever the overwhelming darkness began to close in, something profoundly divine always, without fail, stepped forward to shield you. Today, we are going to articulate and truly understand the exact reason behind this phenomenon. There is a precise, deep-seated reason why the opposition and attacks have escalated in their viciousness and frequency lately. There's a clear explanation for why people sense an indefinable difference about you, an inherent otherness, even when you haven't spoken a single word or made any overt changes. There's a logical reason why you constantly feel as if you are under intense scrutiny, being watched by unseen eyes. This is because you have successfully transitioned past mere obscurity and into a state of unshakable alignment. You've moved from being simply misunderstood by the masses to becoming an utterly undeniable force of nature. This is a foundational truth. In the spiritual realm, you are most certainly not walking solo. You were marked for this purpose. You were divinely sealed and consecrated. And because of this profound shift in alignment and recognition, you have become spiritually dangerous to every opposing force. This message is designed to bring into the light the truth that your detractors feel deep in their gut, the reality they are terrified to articulate or face head on. Commit to staying with me for this entire journey, because by the conclusion of this discussion, you won't just possess a deeper knowledge of who you truly are. You will also possess absolute clarity on why you were commissioned and the identity of the powerful entity that has been diligently protecting you throughout your entire life's journey. If you feel a tangible fire in your spirit right now, go ahead and acknowledge it. If you've sensed that the divine has been revealing profound truths to you that others remain blind to, embrace that awareness. They scrutinize your every move, but they are utterly incapable of deciphering the mystery that is you. They meticulously observe your strategic periods of silence, the deliberate choices you make, and your almost superhuman resilience, yet nothing they see adds up according to their earthly formulas. This is because virtually every significant step you take fundamentally defies their logic. You refuse to collapse when, by all conventional measures, you absolutely should. You consciously choose not to strike back or retaliate, even when you are intensely provoked. You refuse to beg for any position or seat at the very tables you were, in fact, sent to overturn. To their limited, earthly perspective, you are a complete enigma, unpredictable, unexplainable, but in the higher, unseen spirit realm, your essence is recognized instantly. You are immediately recognized by the light. You are consistently resisted by the encroaching darkness, and you are entirely unreadable to the superficial human eye. You carry within you a unique encryption, a spiritual code that was carefully inscribed into your being before the dawn of time, meticulously etched by the sovereign hand of the Eternal, and deliberately hidden within the deepest recesses of your soul. This powerful code is not found in your physical DNA or genetic makeup. Rather, it is intrinsically woven into your divine assignment, your core essence, and your spiritual wiring. This is the core reason why the forces of darkness instantly recognize your name, even without you ever uttering a sound. It explains why complete strangers are either inexplicably drawn to you instantaneously, or why they flee from your presence without understanding their own compulsion. You possess an unparalleled ability to walk into any given space and fundamentally shift the entire atmosphere. The very air seems to thicken and tighten. The energy within the room is instantly forced to adjust and comply. This space itself registers your presence, even if no one visibly turns their head to acknowledge you. And this, precisely, is the part of the equation that they cannot logically explain or rationalize. They aren't merely perceiving your physical form. They are, in fact, feeling a frequency, a distinct and powerful vibration that emanates from your core being. You are navigating this life carrying a spiritual vibration that the forces of hell are incapable of replicating, and that human intellect remains completely unable to decode. This is because your core spirit pulses with a current that feels ancient, profoundly divine, and one that hasn't been genuinely witnessed in perhaps countless generations. Understand this truth clearly. You were not intentionally sent here to simply blend in or conform to expectations. You were deliberately sent here as a crucial spiritual interruption, a calculated divine disturbance to every nefarious plan the enemy had meticulously laid out for this specific era. You were expertly forged in secret, meticulously refined within intense fire, and spiritually programmed in the heavens with precise, sacred instructions that only your elevated spirit fully understands, and which the darkness intensely fears. This is the deeper reason why incredible, favorable doors open for you, doors that others have tirelessly and fruitlessly knocked upon for years. This is precisely why favor seems to effortlessly pursue you, even during moments when you choose to remain entirely silent and still. The truth is, you are not frantically chasing after what is inherently yours. You are effortlessly attracting what has already been definitively written and ordained within your sacred blueprint and divine contract. Now, I urge you to listen with heightened awareness. They label you as strange. They dismiss you as being too intense, too deep, or too sensitive, often implying you are somehow fundamentally flawed. But what they are truly communicating is that they distinctly feel the fingerprint of heaven imprinted all over your life, and they simply lack the spiritual vocabulary or capacity to handle its undeniable presence. You were spiritually coded for battle, meticulously designed for significant disruption, and definitively marked for monumental moments they genuinely believed would never belong to someone like you. You have successfully navigated experiences and situations that others utterly failed to survive. This wasn't merely due to superior personal strength. It was because your unique spiritual code included an override, a hidden access key, a divinely provided escape hatch. When the enemy attempted to permanently silence or cancel you, your indwelling spirit simply rerouted around the obstacle. When people actively sought to erase your influence, your divine calling only intensified and became louder and clearer. When betrayal should have rendered you voiceless, your spiritual voice was upgraded with profound clarity and unquenchable fire. This is because the divine encrypted your existence in a manner that no form of malicious witchcraft, destructive gossip, or intentional delay could ever possibly penetrate or genuinely touch. They mistakenly assumed that the intense rejection would completely shatter you. Instead, it ultimately unlocked a new dimension within you. They believed that deep isolation would permanently bury your potential. Instead, it served to fully activate your spiritual gifts and true self. And now they are collectively asking profound, unanswerable questions for which they lack the correct spiritual language. Why can't we completely shake their influence? Why does their seemingly simple peace feel like a silent form of warfare against us? Why does their physical presence haunt us and linger long after they've departed? The reason is simple and profound. You do not merely speak to their physical ears. You communicate directly to their core spirits. And your spirit has been uniquely programmed to either trigger their spiritual awakening or provoke their deepest panic and retreat. This is not rooted in arrogance. It is the manifestation of your undeniable purpose. And the more completely you align yourself with this purpose, the more the surrounding world will be forced to realize that you were never intended to be fully understood in a conventional sense. You were designed to be spiritually obeyed by realms and dimensions they actively choose to pretend do not even exist. They are free to mock you, speculate endlessly, and even clumsily attempt to imitate your journey. But what you genuinely carry cannot ever be truly replicated. It can only be powerfully revealed precisely when the divine deems the timing to be right. Therefore, continue to move forward. Continue walking in your coded, unique path, because the definitive time is approaching, closer than they could ever imagine, when the spiritual veil will finally lift and everyone will know, without a shadow of a doubt, who you truly are. And here is the most staggering part, the revelation they are truly not ready for. Not only will they eventually be forced to recognize your immense spiritual stature, but they will also distinctly remember you from prophetic dreams, from moments of ignored warnings, from the gut feelings they consciously dismissed. This is because heaven has been announcing your arrival and significance long before your physical voice ever reached a public stage or microphone. And just when they foolishly believe they have finally figured you out, a powerful new layer of your code will unlock, bringing with it new authority, expanded vision, and an entirely new spiritual dimension. Something monumental is right on the verge of an undeniable shift, but we haven't quite reached the end of this revelation. Stay tuned, because in the moments ahead, you will uncover the precise reason why your spiritual protection defies all earthly logic, and why your opponents consistently fail to harm you, regardless of how close they manage to get. They are left asking the critical question, who is fiercely protecting them? This is because no matter how many negative arrows they launch, no matter how intricate the traps they meticulously set, no matter how strategically they plot your comprehensive downfall, absolutely nothing they attempt ever works. This persistent failure is deeply unsettling and frustrating for them, because they witness you effortlessly navigating through intense storms entirely untouched. You are able to endure profound betrayal without descending into corrosive bitterness. You consistently escape spiritual snares that were meticulously custom, designed with the sole purpose of utterly destroying you. They are quick to dismiss your experience as simple luck or mere coincidence. But the staggering truth they cannot grasp is that you are protected by something far beyond mere flesh and simple instinct. Your spiritual covering is not natural in origin. It is powerfully ancestral. It is eternally angelic. It is definitively prophetic. Long before you drew your very first breath, your name was already being uttered and whispered within the strategic war rooms of heaven. Sacred declarations were proclaimed, divine assignments were meticulously drawn up, and vast heavenly reinforcements were instantly dispatched. You never walk alone. You never sleep alone. You are never left to cry alone. This is because intrinsically tied to your very spirit are ancient, potent prayers offered by grandmothers who spoke in divine tongues when the world around them was silent. You are covered by the faith of fathers who covered future generations with spiritual oil and fire. You benefit from prophets who caught glimpses of your destined battles and interceded for you before your existence was even a reality. This is the ultimate reason why malicious witchcraft never lands, why intentional curses invariably bounce back onto the sender, and why destructive gossip spontaneously dies in the mouths of your accusers. The protective field surrounding you is unseen by the physical eye, yet it is spiritually lethal to every opposing force. There are angels directly assigned to your entire bloodline, not just solely to you, but to the monumental mission intricately embedded within your spiritual legacy. Every time you were fundamentally supposed to break, an angel powerfully intervened and blocked the attempt. Every time you were destined to lose your mind under pressure, a voice from beyond this dimension powerfully whispered clarity and sanity. That near-fatal car accident, that debilitating illness, that bizarre freak situation, you weren't just lucky. You were absolutely covered, protected by an unbreakable covenant, defended by profound promises made in the most elevated heavenly places, and actively shielded by forces this world cannot possibly measure or comprehend. Understand this truth clearly. Your spiritual battle is not an isolated incident. You are a direct descendant of spiritual warriors. Some lived in profound obscurity, some passed away in complete silence, but every single one of them was diligently preparing the sacred path you walk upon today. This is precisely why the opposition and attacks are so deeply specific, relentlessly persistent, and intensely personal. The enemy is not merely fighting against you as an individual. He is desperately fighting everything you carry, everything you are on the verge of powerfully unlocking, and everything your noble bloodline was previously denied, but which you were absolutely born to reclaim. You are a profound restoration project, a complex redemption code, a generational response to the spiritual oppression that hell has inflicted, and heaven takes that personally indeed. So yes, they observe your genuine peace, and it completely baffles them. They hear your authentic voice, and it powerfully shakes them to their core. They witness your undeniable rise, and it fills them with palpable terror. This is because you don't project an image of being protected, nor do you behave with arrogant entitlement. You move in strategic silence, but your very presence is thunderous. They mistakenly believe you possess powerful earthly connections. They think some formidable human being is financially or politically supporting you. And they are absolutely right, but not in the limited way their minds conceive. While they frantically seek influence within earthly boardrooms, you are effortlessly commanding authority in the most potent spiritual realm. While they engage in manipulation and networking, you are dedicated to worship and spiritual warfare, and that is the unshakable truth of why they simply cannot touch you. You do not operate under fragile earthly authority. You move entirely under a sovereign covering, and the very instant they try to publicly expose you, the divine powerfully exposes them. The moment they attempt to humiliate you, the divine visibly elevates you. The moment they try to send a curse, the divine blesses you openly and in public view. This occurs not because you are flawless, nor because you are always unwavering in your strength, but because your entire life story has always been exponentially bigger than your individual self. The spiritual spotlight on your life is not intended for personal vanity. It is meant for profound vindication, not solely for your personal name, but for the countless generations who came before you, those who never achieved the platform, the voice, or the justice they deserved. You are the walking, breathing evidence of their ancient prayers. You do not yet know even a fraction of what was spoken over your destiny. This is why your steps are meticulously ordered. This is why you have been purposefully preserved, because there is a distinct prophecy attached to your name, and heaven is actively and fiercely protecting its invaluable spiritual investment. Therefore, allow them to wonder, allow them to endlessly speculate, let them meticulously try to study and track your movements. They will never truly grasp how you consistently manage to survive. The inescapable truth is, they are not actually fighting against you. They are dangerously colliding with a lineage of light. They are facing off against heaven's elite military, and they are demonstrably losing, quietly, consistently, and most importantly, irreversibly. But hold on, because the next revelation is crucial. It will profoundly explain why certain people cannot physically tolerate being near you for too long. It will explain why your inherent energy disrupts rooms, why your eyes seem to peer directly into their souls, and why people feel intensely judged even when you haven't uttered a single word of accusation. You walk into any room and the entire atmosphere shifts. This is not because you are speaking loudly or boasting, but because your very existence profoundly activates something within others, something they have desperately buried, something they are deeply afraid to confront. You can remain completely silent, and yet they feel utterly exposed. This exposure is not a result of confrontation or blame, but simply your presence. You are a mirror they never requested, a profound reflection they have actively tried to avoid, a living, breathing reminder of uncomfortable truths they have diligently suppressed. They observe your authentic peace and are instantly reminded of their own inner chaos. They hear your quiet silence, and their own internal mental noise becomes deafening. They witness your personal freedom, and they feel their own invisible chains tighten painfully. This is not a personal attack, it is inherently prophetic. The light residing in you reveals the darkness in them. This is not intended to cause shame, but to powerfully awaken them. And here is the profound twist. You are not actively trying to change them. You are simply being your authentic self. But the profound truth of who you fundamentally are confronts the elaborate facade of who they desperately pretend to be. This is why they resort to gossip. This is why they quickly withdraw. This is why they can be intensely friendly one moment and completely cold the next. It's not that you intentionally hurt them. It's that your spiritual purity confronts their painful compromise. Your relentless discipline mocks their endless excuses. Your consistent growth instantly exposes their stagnation. You have fundamentally become the unspoken alarm clock for those who are still spiritually asleep. And let's be brutally honest, not everyone actually wants to wake up. You carry a spiritual vibration that utterly disrupts comfort zones. People who are perfectly content with fake smiles and superficial living begin to frantically question their own carefully constructed masks when you are near. This is because you are not participating in the same trivial game. While they busied themselves building false identities around shallow applause, you were diligently building profound character in isolation. While they desperately craved external validation, you were quietly cultivating undeniable vision. Now you stand before them not with arrogance but with pure authenticity, and this reality completely undoes them. They have spent years crafting a meticulously fake version of themselves, a version that you accidentally dismantle in mere seconds just by being undeniably real. What you are experiencing is not genuine rejection, it is powerful spiritual recoil. People are deliberately pulling back because your radiant light touches places they have worked feverishly hard to keep hidden in the dark. And so, they project their own insecurities onto you. They claim you think you are superior. They label you as intense, too spiritual, too serious, too sensitive. But what they are truly communicating is, you force me to feel what I am utterly not ready to face. They are simply incapable of admitting it. Your journey of healing exposes their hidden wounds. Your unwavering honesty fundamentally threatens their masks. Your beautiful consistency powerfully spotlights their own profound chaos. You are not creating conflict. You are provoking a powerful transformation that they are simply not prepared to embrace. But mark my words, one day they will powerfully remember you, not primarily for the words you spoke, but for the truth you made them feel. You will be the one person their soul privately whispers about when they are finally ready to confront themselves. So, keep your light shining, keep walking your unique path, and continue to be a necessary disruptor, because every trigger you activate is a potent seed of awakening. And even though they actively reject you right now, one day, they will genuinely thank the divine that you absolutely never dimmed your fire. But do not move yet, because what I'm about to share next will clearly explain why your inherent spiritual authority feels so deeply unsettling, and why your simple silence alone is now beginning to make the wrong people incredibly nervous. You never sought out a public platform, you never pleaded to be seen or recognized, you didn't force your way into coveted rooms, yet when you arrive, something shifts instantly. This is not because you are loud or naturally charismatic, but because you possess a spiritual weight that can never be faked, a deep spiritual gravity that inherently demands respect, even when no one is applauding. You have never required external validation to fully be real, and that fact is what most deeply unsettles people. While others are frantically chasing fleeting recognition, you are consistently walking in divine revelation. While they are performing solely for human approval, you are moving with explicit permission from heaven. There is a powerful silence that surrounds you, but it is not empty. It is profoundly loaded with history, with intense spiritual warfare, with anointing oil, and with unseen victories that only heaven celebrated. People observe your outer calm, but they completely fail to understand the immense roar beneath it. They sense your presence, but cannot explain the spiritual weight it carries. That is not intimidation. That is pure authority. It is divine authority that was given, not earned. It is recognized, not requested. It is the kind of authority that is transferred deep in the secret place through silent tears, through sacrificial altars built in invisible seasons, through radical surrender that crushed your human pride and completely rewired your spiritual DNA. And now you are confidently walking in that authority, not because you desperately sought human influence, but because you willingly paid the high price for intimacy with the divine. You've been in countless rooms where people held impressive titles, but lacked any genuine spiritual presence. They had large crowds but carried no authentic spiritual weight. They made loud declarations that found no echo in the spirit realm. Meanwhile, your simple whisper carries more impact than their loudest shout. Your intentional stillness pierces deeper than their frantic performance. This is because what you carry is not for mere show. It is fundamentally for shift. Storms do not recognize mere followers. They instinctively respond to commanders. And when you choose to speak, entire spiritual realms listen. Atmospheres are forced to align. Opposing forces adjust their tactics. This happens not because of your vocal volume, but because of your inherent spiritual legitimacy. You have been authenticated by the fire, unequivocally endorsed by heaven, and it profoundly shows. Even when you consciously try to downplay it, even when you genuinely don't want the attention, people still feel it. They feel the pull, the undeniable weight, the invisible spiritual crown that doesn't physically shine but powerfully governs the atmosphere. And this is precisely why those with mere performative power feel so deeply exposed around you, because they have expertly mastered the image, but you intrinsically carry the true spiritual substance. They are addicted to the fleeting sound of applause, but your anointing requires no audience. You are the one person they privately seek out when their public image is on the verge of cracking. You are the one they envy in silence because, deep down, they know your purposeful quiet carries more true legitimacy than all their collective noise. But here is the most threatening reality of all. You are not trying to compete with anyone. You are not chasing platforms. You are not posting for shallow validation. You are not desperately trying to build a superficial brand. You are fulfilling an eternal blueprint. That truth is what utterly terrifies them, because people who do not need the spotlight cannot be controlled by its absence. And people who do not crave external attention move in a spiritual dimension that earthly systems and massive egos can neither predict nor manipulate. Your spiritual authority did not originate from men. It came from the process of being crushed. It came from those intense, dark seasons where your only constant was the divine, who then built something profound in you that no platform could ever bestow and no demon can ever take away. You command the storms not through vocal volume but through absolute alignment. You powerfully shift atmospheres not with mere talent but with unwavering truth. And the spiritual realm profoundly knows this. It recognizes the immense weight you carry, even when the world attempts to dismiss or ignore it. The ultimate truth is, you are unequivocally known where it matters, in the heavenly places, on hell's most wanted list, and in the scrolls of destiny, where your name is not just written, but prominently highlighted. So let them continue to underestimate you. Let them continue to pretend they don't see the truth. Let them call you too humble, too quiet, too unknown. What they fail to realize is that the unknown is precisely where true power is forged. And the ones that heaven purposely hides are the very ones it intends to reveal with consuming fire. But hold tightly, because what comes next will unlock a truth even deeper than your divine calling. It will explain why your entire existence has been a relentless battlefield, and why the enemy has been desperately trying for years to stop you before you fully remember what you truly are. They observe your life, the endless trials, the frustrating delays, the profound betrayals, and they whisper, what demons are they possibly fighting? But that very question instantly reveals how little they truly comprehend. What you are currently navigating is not merely warfare. It is prophecy in unstoppable motion. You are not simply being attacked. You are, in fact, being announced. Every battle you endured was a powerful confirmation. Every storm was a clear signal. Every wound you received is a powerful witness that something divinely monumental is rapidly unfolding through your very existence. They mistakenly assumed the intense fire was intended to destroy you, but they failed to realize it was the sacred furnace of formation. They thought the rejection was a devastating setback, but they were blind to the fact that it was a clear redirection toward destiny. They assumed your periods of silence signaled defeat, but they never heard the sound of heaven actively rearranging your timeline. The truth remains, you are not just fighting demons. You are walking directly through the echoes of a prophecy that has been relentlessly pursuing you since before you were even born. That's the precise reason why you always felt instinctively out of place. That's why the spiritual pressure hit so early in your life. That's why people turned against you without any justified cause. The very moment you stepped into this world, the atmosphere profoundly shifted. The enemy immediately sensed it. The earth responded to your presence, and heaven permanently documented it. You are a sign, a powerful living signal that prophetic assignment has finally entered the realm of time. You were not simply born, you were purposefully released into a family, a city, a generation that desperately needed what you carry, even if they couldn't immediately recognize it. And so, the spiritual battle began, not because you were weak, but precisely because your mere existence is dangerous to the entire agenda of darkness. You weren't sent here to maintain a fragile balance. You were commissioned to disrupt it, to shift fundamental things, to awaken sleeping mantles and powerfully activate dormant callings. And this is the profound truth they cannot grasp. The initial betrayal was never about a personal offense. It was profound spiritual interference. The attacks were not random incidents. They were strategically timed to delay your rising, but they decisively failed. Every delay you faced only served to sharpen your discernment. Every attack only powerfully expanded your capacity. Every setback only drove your spiritual roots deeper until your foundation became utterly unshakable. They continue to ask, why does so much happen to them? But the far superior question is, what happens through them? Because when you appear, things break, chains loosen, rooms become instantly electric. People either become extremely uncomfortable or profoundly transformed. There is no middle ground when you are present. Why? Because you are not spiritually neutral. You are prophetic proof. Your very existence is undeniable evidence that the enemy failed. You are the survival story that hell desperately never wanted to be told, and every single time you rise again, you confirm a powerful prophecy that has been unfolding since Genesis, a seed of purpose that could not be aborted, silenced, or erased. You didn't choose this path. You were definitively chosen for this, and the clear signs have always been visible, not in comfort, but in intense resistance, not in popularity, but in profound isolation, not in fleeting applause, but in radical alignment. Heaven does not prepare its spiritual warriors in public view. It expertly builds them in absolute obscurity, and you, chosen one, are the magnificent product of this divine preparation. So when they look at you and ask, what are you fighting? The honest answer is every demonic system that knew your arrival was imminent, every debilitating generational curse that instantly saw you as the ultimate threat, every opposing principality that desperately hoped you would never fully wake up. But you did. You woke up, you remembered, you aligned, and now you are truly dangerous because you are not just walking with power, you are walking with a palpable prophetic momentum. Every single step you take fulfills something that heaven declared long, long ago. Every breath you draw testifies that destiny is rapidly unfolding. Every no you wisely say to the world is an immediate yes to your higher calling. You are not a spiritual mystery. You are a definitive revelation, a powerful revelation of what occurs when God's living word takes form in a human life, a revelation of what it looks like when the previously hidden rise to power, a profound revelation of heaven's ultimate plan, walking, breathing, speaking, right here in a world that mistakenly thought it had the final say. And this is truly just the beginning. Everything you have walked through was merely the foundation. What is rapidly approaching next is not mere survival. It is undeniable demonstration, proof that absolutely no weapon successfully worked, proof that your divine assignment cannot be stopped, proof that prophecy absolutely does not return void. But hold tight, because the very next words you are about to hear will not only confirm what you have intrinsically felt your entire life, but they will also awaken something within you that can never, ever go back to sleep. They were entirely right to question you, right to whisper behind your back, right to feel profoundly uneasy when you enter a room, because you are absolutely not who they assumed you were. You are not the frail version they mocked, not the silent one they easily dismissed, not the fading shadow they believed would disappear. You are the definitive fulfillment of something ancient, a prophecy intricately wrapped in human skin, a spiritual weapon disguised as a human being. You are precisely what the darkness intensely feared would awaken. They labeled you as strange, but the heavens wisely call you strategic. They called you broken, but the heavens call you rebuilt for divine glory. You carry the profound echoes of eternity in your very bones, and the fire they see in your eyes is not rebellion. It is powerful remembrance. You have powerfully remembered who you are, and the very second you remembered, everything in the universe profoundly changed. Chosen one, stop apologizing for your inherent fire. Stop actively dimming the light that was intentionally sent to disrupt darkness. Stop shrinking your true self around people who were never meant to genuinely comprehend your calling. You were not sent here to blend in seamlessly. You were sent to break cycles, to destroy spiritual yokes, to carry powerful authority into places that are still chained by fear. And now the very earth senses the shift, when a chosen one fully awakens. Territories tremble, atmospheres are forced to bend, systems often collapse, and the forces of hell go into full-blown panic. You are not merely a survivor of various attacks. You are a carrier of divine reversal, a walking, breathing manifestation of how what was intended for evil, the divine has unequivocally turned for ultimate good. So you must walk differently, pray with new conviction, and speak like one who fundamentally has authority, because you undeniably do. Every delay you endured made you spiritually deeper. Every betrayal made you unequivocally wiser. Every test you faced was, in fact, crucial training, and now the true time of your unveiling has arrived. You no longer need to explain yourself to anyone. Your sheer existence explains everything. Let them continue to wonder. Let them feel spiritually unsettled. Let them watch in profound silence, because what is powerfully coming through you was never, ever intended to be permanently hidden. You are not a mystery any longer. You are a definitive revelation unfolding in real time. If this word has ignited a powerful fire within you, acknowledge it right now in the comments. Say it with deep conviction. Say it with your entire spirit. I walk with power they can't understand, because that is the absolute truth of what is happening in your life.